Hello guys, welcome to another video. This is one of the most important videos here on the channel if you want to move to Portugal. In this video, we are going to talk about Portugal visa and residence permit options for 2023. There are some changes in the Portugal visa policy and we are going to discuss just that. So if you're planning to move to Portugal, if you're a digital nomad, if you want to find work in Portugal, if you want to study or even invest in the country, this video is certainly for you. And here are the topics we're going to cover in this video. The Portugal D7 Visa, one of the best options to move to Europe. The Portugal D2 Visa, an option if you want to run business in Portugal. And the notorious Portugal Golden Visa. After that, we're gonna talk a little bit about the non-habitual residence program, which is not a type of visa, but also an option if you want to live in Portugal. And finally, we will discuss getting a student visa and a work permit in Portugal if you are a non-EU citizen. And before we start the usual conversation as always, if you want to travel, move or invest abroad, hit the like button, check our other videos, we have plenty of videos about Portugal. Book a consultation call with me if you want to move to Portugal. Let's plan your immigration strategy together. And don't forget to subscribe. Let's start. Let's start the video with the Portugal D7 Visa, which is, in my opinion, the best visa and or residence permit arrangement among all EU countries for non-EU citizens. The D7 visa is basically a visa for non-EU citizens for those earning passive income, may it be from stock dividends, pensions abroad, some remote business, and income from real estate. If you are a citizen of an EU country, however, you don't need any visa, you can just come to Portugal and solve your situation there. This is only for non-EU citizens. I'm going to split the D7 visa into two sections. The Portuguese visa for digital nomads and the D7 visa for retirees. So for digital nomads, Portugal is still one of the top countries receiving digital nomads from the EU as well as from countries outside the EU, most notably from the US, the UK and Brazil, but also other countries. The rather strange fact here is that unlike in Croatia or Estonia, there is no specific digital nomad visa in Portugal, but digital nomads coming to the country are usually applying for the D7 visa, which has pretty low financial requirements even when compared to proper, so to say, digital nomad visas like those in Croatia, in Malta, in Estonia, for example. By the way, we have several videos for those looking to get a digital nomad visa in Europe, so feel free to browse around our channel for more information on that. The second category of expats that benefit from the D7 visa are retirees. The D7 is aimed firstly at those living on passive income, which is the category for most retirees around the world that can apply to live in Portugal. The financial requirement for the D7 visa still remains ridiculously low, especially when we compare it to other similar passive residence visas in countries like Spain or France. Currently, with an income slightly above 700 euros per month, if you're coming alone, and just a bit more than 1,000 euros per month if you're coming as a married couple, you can qualify for the D7 visa. In Italy, just as a comparison, your monthly income needs to be around 2,700 euros per month if you want to get a similar visa in that country. Is Italy much better than Portugal? The answer probably depends on your personal taste, but price-wise, Portugal is much more accessible. As we can see, the D7 visa in Portugal still remains as one of the best deals in the market if you want to move to Europe as a retiree or as a remote worker. Now we're going to talk about the D2 visa. In Portugal, it is also possible to immigrate to if you want to run a business. This can be any type of business in theory. If you are a freelancer and want to work in Portugal for Portuguese and international clients, you can use the D2 visa. If you want to open a restaurant or an auto repair shop, you can also use this visa. You will need to show, among other requirements, a solid business plan and experience in the field. Now we're gonna talk about the non-habitual residence, which is not actually a residence permit or a visa to live in Portugal, but it can be very useful for you if you're moving to Portugal. So, Portugal has a program called the non-habitual residence. This is a tool you can use if you're moving to Portugal, especially if you're coming on the D7 visa and if you are an EU citizen. With the non-habitual residence program, also referred as NHR, you can have a number of tax discounts for 10 years. It is definitely not a zero tax solution, as many YouTube channels and websites advertise, as the discounts will depend on the type of income you have. It used to be an amazing deal, but the regulations made it less attractive over the years. However, it is still a great way to live in Western Europe and pay much less taxes than you would in countries like Spain, Italy, France, Germany, etc. So if you're moving to Portugal, you have not lived in Portugal before, make sure you check the NHR program, both for EU citizens as well as non-EU citizens. Finally, I'm going to talk now about the Portugal Golden Visa. The Golden Visa in Portugal simply put Portugal on the map of global investors in the past decade. It used to be an amazing deal just like the NHR, but in this case you could buy property in any part of Portugal, get a Golden Visa, start your path to citizenship and just live a happy life. Moreover, the property market in Portugal some 10 years ago was rather abandoned. Prices were very cheap in mid-sized cities, and even in central Lisbon, prices were quite reasonable. Those days are long gone, that's totally over, since both the real estate market and the Golden Visa regulations changed drastically in Portugal. Just to give a quick overview of the real estate market in Portugal, it is basically overpriced in most places currently, and most properties are probably not a good investment if you want to rent the property you bought. Rental yields are low in most parts of the country, considering how high property prices got in relation to how stagnated real salaries growth is. From the requirements point of view, things also have changed, as residential properties in larger cities do not qualify for the Golden Visa anymore, and financial requirements are also significantly higher. The cheapest option for the Portuguese Golden Visa now involves an investment of at least 350,000 euros, but you are probably looking at a 500,000 euros investment if you want to have a significant amount of options. You can also invest in funds instead of buying a property. We do have a partnership with one of these funds in Portugal, focused on agriculture in the country, so feel free to contact me for more details on this one. Now we're gonna talk about studying in Portugal and getting a residence permit because you want to become a student. Studying in Portugal is another option to move to the country. This is especially a good idea if you are already planning to study abroad anyway. Portuguese universities are significantly cheaper than universities in Canada, Australia, the US, UK, and other popular English-speaking countries. Another advantage here is that if you come from a visa-free country to the Schengen area, you can come to Portugal visa-free, obviously, apply to the institution where you are planning to study, and get a residence permit without having to go back to your country of origin. So for example, if you are from the US or Australia, you can just come to Portugal as a tourist, enroll to some education institution, which makes you eligible for a residence permit, which is not all of them by the way, and then you can just live in Portugal. This is a pretty important advantage as this is not available in most countries in the European Union. In many cases, you have to apply for a student visa, even if you can come to your European country of choice without a visa for a period of up to 3 months. In the final part of this video, I'm going to talk about getting a work permit in case you have been offered a job in Portugal. The tricky part here is definitely being offered a job, as the Portuguese job market is far away from booming. There is also similar advantage as if you would be a student in Portugal in regards to getting a work permit in the country. If you come to Portugal and you can stay visa-free for up to 90 days, if in this period you miraculously manage to find a job, you can then change your status from a short-term visitor to a resident in the country. Portugal is one of the very few countries in the European Union where this is possible for non-EU citizens. Nevertheless, it is always good to mention that the job market in Portugal is far from ideal. And even if you get a job, unless you are doing a highly specialized job, the salary will be quite low for the constantly increasing cost of living in the country. So let's wrap up and talk about the overall situation in Portugal regarding visas and residence permits. For this year, Portugal still remains one of the best and easiest countries to move to in Europe. There are plenty of visa categories, the financial requirements are still low, and there are many workarounds you can use to smoothen your steps towards getting residency in Portugal. Even if the Golden Visa requirements got worse, and I do expect it to become less and less attractive in the next few years, there are still some reasonably decent deals, and compared to other European Golden Visas, Portugal remains competitive in that sense. Nonetheless, Portugal used to have one of the best Golden Visa deals in Europe, and now in its current form, this is certainly a debatable fact. The appeal of Portugal also lies in its citizenship law, which in my opinion remains the easiest one to acquire for those not having European ancestry or a close European family member. You can still apply for Portuguese citizenship after 5 years living in the country. It definitely is a great choice if your ultimate goal is to acquire European Union citizenship. That's it for today's video. Write down in the comment section what do you think about Portugal and what else would you like to know about this country. Let's end the video the usual spiel, but before we end, check our other videos on Portugal. We have plenty of information on this country. If you think my efforts were worth your time, hit the like button, check our other videos, book a consultation call if you want to do the full immigration process to Portugal, and don't forget to do what every other YouTuber is constantly and relentless begging you to do here. Subscribe. See you next time.